Imagine being hungry and the mind is not sending a signal to tell you that the reason you're uncomfortable is because you're hungry. That's a very difficult situation to be in, because the incapability comes from the mind, not from the physical inability.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Kampala Edge Times. Today we are shooting our episode at Donor Center for Autism, and I'm really elated to be in this beautiful place. It's so colorful. It's such a beautiful place. You have to get to. I'm so elated to host one of the most wonderful ladies in this country. She's a loving mother, Madame Dorothy Nambi. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. I'm just proud of that kind of a message. But I always say it's a calling and we are into a service. So to everyone watching us, welcome to Donor Center Home for Autism. I'm Miss Dorothy Nambi, the founder of the Children's Home, which is located in Ntinda, that's on Semawata Road. Every end of the year, we celebrate our children. We celebrate them, we love them, and as Donor Center, we normally have an autism walk. So in our community that is in Ntinda, we walk around with a band. So still even this time we shall have a band. We have some entertainment. We have some people who just walk with us on the road, those who are walking on stilts. We are going to invite them. And we call the community to come and join the walk. It's the only way we can send this message out that these children are an image from God. It's not a mistake. They are there. So because they are voiceless, we want to be the voice. You and me can be an ambassador in this. So,
where does your love come from for these children? How do you get the push to do this?
Wow. So normally, I'm a teacher by profession and also a mother, but somewhere in the Bible when Jesus said, "Let all the little children come to me." For me, my calling is around children living with autism. Just a mere them smiling, to me, it's a blessing I take. I normally tell my colleagues that when we make them smile, it's a blessing we take. So things around to do with children, for me, that is where my calling is.
What does the jigsaw puzzle represent in autism?
Okay, so normally when we see such puzzles, I normally get back to their behavior, the way they communicate, the way they relate, the way they see things. So it's a puzzle that is still all over, and would want to put the piece back to what you can stand, what she can stand, what someone else can bear. So when they come, when they are very hyper, means the puzzle is that it's disorganized. Okay. The brain is disorganized. So we try to say, okay, come back, settle down. So that is putting the puzzle back to its pieces. When we say they are challenged in their social communication, many of them are non-verbal. A few who are verbal may not really make it to what the ordinary children are, I think, experiencing in the ordinary schools. So that is now the formation of the brain. Children with autism are affected differently. I can say that they are affected differently. At Donor Center, we have those that are really severely impaired. Many of them are non-verbal.
Okay.
Those who are verbal may not really do the other curriculum that the other children are following in the regular schools. So for us at Donor Center, we are so much in the vocational training and life skills empowerment. So we want to see how can one day, society accept our children? How can they be of value to the society?
You know, one thing that is interesting is that it's one thing to tell people to accept, but it's another thing for them to know how to do that. How do people actually accept these people?
Wow, so what I normally say when such a scenario has come around your way, of course the word is accepting. Exactly. Admit, of course, when you go for medical checkups, you've gone to the doctor, you have found out your child is that, what must you do? Are you going to leave the child in the hospital? No. Kind of like, of course, there is counseling now. Admit, yes, this is my child, this is for life. But if somehow I work on some unwanted behavior, it means I may have some positive behavior other than totally giving up. So we try to tell mothers or even the whole family, because we normally get clients here, but then we go through a session of like, admit your child is autistic, relax, stop wandering all over, stop seeking, can it be operated, can it be this, settle down, it has come, you've been given the news, accept, and then try to live positively. The moment I find this is my child has a disorder, what should I do? I said, you're not going to leave the child in a hospital. You're going to compose yourself. Okay, that is my child. What should I do? When we talk about life skills empowerment, what can your child do? And then the society is going to be positive about your child. That even if you left this planet, the next people will accept your child. And that is it.
Do they leave the child forever? They no longer, see the child. Is it like a prison, or it's more of a daycare that people take their children when they are free?
Wow. So Donor Center is an NGO first of all. We are a non-governmental organization registered under the Ministry of Gender and recognized by the Children Authority. Yes. So children come here for a semester or a term. A little bit we follow the government calendar for the regular schools, but then we don't have the same curriculum. Okay. So our children are here for 3 months, then they go back home. So we have both a day and a boarding program. So we have some who commute from home, then we also have those who reside at the center. Wonderful. So we try to kind of like bring that kind of an imagination of like, I'm at school. If they are rights, I'm also at school like any other child.
Exactly.
So right now I'm into child protection. So when we talk about child protection, like, okay, we also get into their rights. No matter they're autistic, what are their rights? They have the right to education.
Exactly.
So when we say we are at school for 3 months, that's the right. So they are here, they will also take
so
a break.
So do we pay school fees
go back home
as well here?
Yes, we have a maintenance fee that we normally ask for. And like any other child, like, go to school, you have to pay this. Okay. So normally they come here, the boarding program is $300. Then the day program is halfway that. So those who are able to bring their children have really done some great job. Then those who are unable to, it is sad. But I normally say you are abusing the right of that child. Those who have seen the value now, you see Donor Center is full of glass. Okay. We want to show them that you need to be in some good environment. We are not going to put like a wood, so that because when the world is like you're mad, then you don't deserve this environment. So we ask for that also, keep in some good environment. Wonderful. We ask for that because we want professional people to support our children. We are charging that because the rent is very high. Okay. The feeding itself. Yes. The manpower, the ratio of looking after these children is supposed to be 1-on-1. But do we have that? No. So currently we are working with the Aga Khan Foundation, and Aga Khan Foundation as an organization has really supported Donor Center so far for 1 year with feeding children. We have really been so grateful. They've done their part. Of course, the project is ending, and we would pray that maybe they should come again. Maybe other people should come on board and support such a cause, because it's not easy. Being a non-government organization means it's not a profit business. It's nowhere. So it is just a service. Then we also work with our friends, Brass for Africa. They've continued to support our children with the music lessons. So, and of course, down the road I was telling my colleague that we need more drums. So maybe someone would be there listening and watching this. If you have, you can come in, because they were telling me some children have side drums, others don't have. So I was like, oh, we need more. So you never know, someone could be watching and they can sponsor us. Whichever way they are, they are showing us that what people didn't think, we can do it. Our inability to talk does not
limit us.
Or doesn't limit us from playing using our hands, doesn't limit us from humming. I may not say out the words, but I can hum. I can bring out the tune.
Walk and how people can register the partners, I don't know.
Wow, so normally we've been still at a smaller scale, but we would really want it to grow big, as you're hearing, MTN. So maybe one day if we partner with big companies like MTN, we would want this thing to really go far, because autism on its own is something still a little bit hidden, but it's a very big problem. But meanwhile, we call upon people to come. First come, then we shall have some t-shirts for first come, first serve. You come early, you win yourself a t-shirt.
For the walk. Lovely. So I will be here as early as
so if you come in early, and this has been sponsored by our partners from the Aga Khan Foundation.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
How do they look like your t-shirt here?
Not really. I think the other one will have our theme, where I say this: embrace differences.
Okay.
So that is what we shall talk that time. I know.
Yeah, maybe give the viewers some final words.
Everyone watching us out there, this is Miss Dorothy Nambi. Donor Center is our home for children living with autism. We are here for counseling. Don't be challenged and you keep home. Come out and let's support our children. Continue to invite everyone for the Autism Awareness Walk, which we normally celebrate every end of the year. I normally tell people that Santa comes once in a year, so come around and see Santa at Donor Center.
My name is Geoffrey Ekongot. I am the chairman, Donor Center Home for Autism. Regarding education of children with autism, our approach is slightly different from conventional education. With conventional education, success is measured by completion, and completion is usually set against specific class grades. For example, it's primary or secondary. But because Donor Center deals with severe autism, most of the training is individualized training, but also the focus is on progress versus completion. Progress versus completion differs from conventional education because it focuses on enabling children to progress versus attaining certain complete skills or knowledge, or because with severe autism, mostly they are severely impaired or heavily impaired from most of the basics, that any little success is treated with the level of seriousness it deserves, because it's not that easy. The struggle is really high, and we celebrate any progress that is made versus trying to celebrate completion of a specific set of skills or specific task. For us, it's measuring the progress towards that task that is made that we value the most.
I am the Monitoring and Evaluation Officer for the Aga Khan project that is partnering with us, Donor Center, to implement a one-year project. Thank you.
You are so very welcome.
I work with Donor Center. Implementing a project together, Aga Khan is the donor.
Okay.
And through donors get to the other people in community that are living with children having autism.
What pushed Aga Khan to come to Donor Center?
On the outbreak of the pandemic, very many people had challenges. And we look at people living with disabilities to be on a more disadvantaged end, and of which the children living with autism were among them. So with that good heart, Aga Khan Foundation came through for this response. How can we help people recover from this situation? So it gave us a 1-year grant, of which it is a project helping these children living with autism and their families. Surely, just like the rest of the people, a pandemic hit us in a strange kind of manner. Look at the parents who lost their jobs, but they have this child living with autism in their house. These are children that need extra care. They deserve a different kind of diet. They have different kinds of impairments or medical issues that come along with the condition. So being in a disadvantaged kind of economic situation, most of the parents were unable to sustain or to give their best to their children who are living with autism. So this was a relief that came through.
Sure.
How can we feed up the gap that was there during that pandemic time?
Okay, I do get that. So Aga Khan basically came out to reach a hand to Donor Center.
We are actually now 11 months. We are getting to an end of our project, and basically we were looking at facilitating these families or children and their families with recommended food items.
Okay.
Basically, it was to avert the hyped behavior in these children, because the people living with autism have a special diet. We do not feed on everything.
We would like to know this diet.
Children living with autism or people living with autism have certain foods that we put aside, such as the sugary things. It's too much sugar that we take.
Okay.
We basically have to having the natural sugars replace the sugar with Kachira sugar we take.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would we say, let us put sugar aside? Because it makes us hyper. Have you ever seen a child or us in those times when you'd go to a party and they give you soda? There's that happiness that comes through and excitement, even with the normal children.
Yes.
If they're on a party and you, like before the soda comes in, everyone is calm. But when the soda comes through, the excitement is at its best.
Shall we say soda is alcoholic?
No, it's not alcoholic. If at all it was, I think it should have been indicated that, you know what, this is an alcoholic
So what is
drink.
that ingredient that makes soda, makes people hyper after taking soda?
Everyone's body reacts to things differently.
Okay.
For the case of the too much sugars with the children living with autism, there's that energy, that big energy it gives us.
Energy.
Yes. And for us, with our emotions, when it comes to the anger, it's at the extreme. When it comes to the happiness, extreme. So when I have my energy and then you add me more energy, trust me, I'll give you everything at its best. If it is the excitement, wow, I'm going to be super excited.
Wonderful.
So we have protein.
Okay.
The too much protein, I may not have the fine term to give it, but we deal away with something like milk, or if we are to have it, we have it in a more dilute format, because most of the children that are living with autism tend to have digestion disorders.
Yes.
So these are some of the foods we tend to push aside. Wheat.
You don't take wheat when you have autism.
Sure. Really try our level best to go natural. The wheat products, we put them aside. The milk, we put it aside. Too much protein is always on the side.
Okay.
Because we cannot say totally you're out of protein. We need it for the growth and development.
That's right.
And then we also look at the too much carbohydrate. That heavy bit of carbohydrate. But of course, the children or everyone needs the energy.
That's right.
But we would say some of the things are going to be put aside because of our digestive disorders that always come along with our condition.
Okay, so I'd just like you to tell us what autistic people should consume, like in huge quantities or more than others.
When we look at just like I've told you, everyone deserves to have a balanced diet. So we must have the protein, we must have the carbohydrate, we must have the vitamins and everything. But some things like I've told you a little bit earlier, the wheat, the too much protein can be put aside. Or if we are having them, it should be in less quantities, once in a while. But I always advise us to always go natural. If there are the beans, add eggplants, add silverfish, and let the meal go that way without the cooking oil, the too much blue band and everything.
Okay, so that's the idea. Instead of putting a lot of cooking oil in the beans, you can put some fish in it. Silverfish.
Put silverfish, put eggplants. Let us have natural food.
Okay.
Yes.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting this straight from an expert right here. She's telling us that if you have an autistic person, kindly don't give them over-processed foods and proteins and fatty stuff. How do we know that this person is considered autistic?
Wow, thank you. Children living with autism basically have special traits.
Okay.
They tend to be attached to certain items. You find everywhere they go, they move with maybe a string or bottle tops or threads. Just like the way us old people are. I cannot leave my phone behind. So
that's
you find
some level of autism. Is it auticity? Jesus
autism.
Christ.
Very many of us are on the spectrum.
Okay.
True. That's just that it depends on which end are we. However, they get to be attached to certain items. Then these children have their emotions at the extremes.
Okay, they are always at the extreme.
Their anger is always at the extreme. See, it's something very small. Maybe you've not understood what exactly he wanted you to understand. You see a kid throwing a tantrum, if I may say, like someone complaining so much, like why everything it was something small.
At the start, are they able to talk?
Some are able to talk because some have the speech and some are non-verbal.
I'm looking at a parent, a new, and like in Nakawere, someone who has just gotten a baby.
Yes.
You get, and the baby has started growing. How does that person discern that this baby is an autistic baby? Like, okay, they're on the higher end of the spectrum.
With the children, as they develop, the various milestones we go through.
Okay.
In case my child does not do certain things at a certain time, there's always a period when kids are meant to say the tata, mama, little words.
Yes.
So if my child does not really come out to say this, if I see my child's development is totally different from the rest, would say, let us seek medical attention.
Okay.
Here, a doctor is going to diagnose this kid and they will tell you that, you know what, this is the situation. Your child is on the spectrum, or they are not. So it's basically concluded by the medical people.
Expert.
Yes. I would love to tell us, the people out there, that autism is not a disease. It is a condition. And let us not judge any person that has a child living with autism, because none of us knows what exactly causes autism. We basically say it is God's plan. Let us learn how to accept and also look at these children like they are normal children, or they are also a gift from God, because they are surely a blessing and they are capable of doing lots and lots of things, only if we come out and accept them as well as support them. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. I have received this flyer. It reads Autism Spectrum Disorder, as you can see. So it has a number of answers for what is autism, what are the symptoms, who does it affect, how is it treated, what can I do, and where should I go. So this flyer can be found at Donor Center. Yes, you can come to Donor Center. You will be able to get this to get more information.
Black Africa Expo, the ATV, the ATV, my will in Kutaika for Kutaika for Black Africa. My name is Madam Kagaiva, the center of due date, the center of autism, a teacher, the trumpet, trombone, East Jamus, the teacher of autism, yes.
Thank you.
We've been implementing a one-year project, and we've been actually facilitating families living with children that have autism with recommended food items. We've been providing psychosocial support to the children living with autism, as well as the parents to these children. We've also had a sector of improving the center itself. We had to facilitate 100 families living with children that have autism with the recommended food items.
Wonderful.
We have actually been able to distribute beans, posho, sugar, rice, as well as soap to these families that have children living with autism, of which part of this number are the children that live with us here at the center. We've actually supported 50 families with their children living with autism, and then the 50 are with us here at the center. Some are in the boarding program, some are in the day program. We have seen a great change. This has been reported by the parents who are back in community. Because with this distribution of food, there's an aim. Why are we giving you posho? Why are we giving you rice? Why are we giving you beans? Because these are the foods that tend to be more friendly with us, the people of autism. We are not going to give you cooking oil. No, that wouldn't come through. So the children that are there in community have actually had a reduced hyped behavior. What is the hyped behavior we are talking about? This is a time when you see a kid never settled down. They are jumping here and there. And for us, with the case of autism, that kind of behavior is triggered by the foods we eat. Like I had earlier told you, when I take the sugary things and I have autism, you see me so hyperactive, like I have a lot of energy, I'm flying around. So the parents have come out because yes, we've taken the food, but we've also been making home visits during this project.
To ensure that the kids are being given these products, right?
Yes, but basically it's to provide psychosocial support because most of our parents are in denial. They have not yet come to accept the fact that I have this child and they are different from the rest of the children. So we have been going out, we have a team of counselors that would go with, and they try to talk through with the parents. And it has been reported by these very parents on how there is improved acceptance of their children.
Wow.
Because of the engagements we've had.
Sure.
People didn't know that a child living with autism has the ability to do something, or they didn't actually know that there are certain foods they have to put them away. And with this kind of knowledge that has been shared, plus the little food packet that has come through, parents that have put in practice what they've been told, they are reporting that their children have actually become calm, normal. They are no longer the hyper children who could not sit down for a second. So this is a great achievement to us. If a parent can come out and tell you, like, you guys, you know what, my child is now calm, and I think it's because I took up your knowledge. The advice you gave me is really great.
So how does a parent adapt to this?
It actually all begins with acceptance. If I have accepted that, yes, my child is on the spectrum, maybe they will not have speech soon, or it may actually never come through. They will not be accepted in a normal school because they tend to be slow learners. They need a lot of patience. So I, as a parent, what am I going to do about this? It starts with, I have accepted, yes, my child is different, right? After you've accepted that this child is different, now you start looking at the good out of this child. Because with acceptance, you now get to know that, wow, my child actually can do something. They're capable of doing any other kind of chores. It's not all about being in class, studying what is science, what is this, but they can go vocational and they can be good at it.
That's right.
So if I, a parent, I come out, I stand my ground, I'm like, yes, I have this child who is totally different from the rest. It should be the first step, and it can really make everything successful. When it comes to autism at an old age, the truth is an autistic person may never be fully independent.
Okay.
You will train me, I'll get the skill.
Yes.
But I will need a second person close to me because their brains cannot master everything. I might be good at tailoring.
Yes.
But I will not know things concerning the money. I will need someone next to me. I will be good at salon, hair, dressing, but I might not know everything. I might be good at making the braids, but I will not be good at the washing. And still I will need someone close to me. Yes, they need someone close to them. They are able to attain the skills perfectly well, but the independence, the soul independence may come through or may never come through. So we may surely need someone close to us.
Okay.
All the time or at times.
I like the fact that you speak in first person, us. You are part of the family, and that is such a beautiful trait for a teacher to possess. Which is the biggest achievement?
With everything, we've gone so very far. When it comes to music, we've actually had our children having a very fine band.
Beautiful.
And someone out there will be like, "Shia, how can an autistic child have the beats in their head?" And we can surprise you. We are perfect. We have people that are so much interested in the bass drums. We have people that are interested in the jazz set. We have people that are interested in the trombones. And everyone's ability comes out differently. And the music is going to sound perfectly well. And you will not look at us that we have autism. Surely, with music, we are good. When it comes to vocational training, we've had our children being able to make various craft material. The table mats, the door rugs, which none of the people out there expect some of us to do. Like, I sit down, I concentrate and do something like that.
And a lot of us don't know how to make those.
True, but the children can do it. It's really great. When it comes to the psychosocial support provision, it's been a success, because the parents out there in community that we've been able to work with on this project,
yes,
are really giving us a positive feedback. Thank you for coming through. I didn't know how to handle my child. I actually didn't even know that the condition was called autism, but now they know. So it's been good. It's quite an interesting journey. When it comes to these people that come through, they just see donor center autism, and then they've just told them in medical centers that your child is on the spectrum. So when they come here, they're like, okay, now I can understand what autism is and how best I can help my child, because we do counseling here for these parents. And you see a parent moving out with a new face.
Donor Center is the right place to be in case you know someone who is autistic, or you yourself, you're autistic. Can autistic people watch videos?
Sure, they do. We have people that are so good when it comes to gadgets.
Okay.
We have some here that way back at home, they own phones and they even know how to use YouTube.
There you are. Please come through to Donor Center in case such differences happen in your family, in your community. Advise anybody you come across. So maybe you can give us the final words and we shall be good.
Thank you. I take this opportunity to thank you for coming through to us as Donor Center. We are surely grateful. And then I take this opportunity to also thank the Aga Khan Foundation, having come through to support us for 1 full year with various items, and it's really been so amazing. You've changed our lives as Donor Center, as well as people there in community. Thank you very much.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Somebody teach me.
Just play anything that comes to your mind. Turn the sticks, eh? Those are the heads that you're holding, yes. Let's go. Nice. Music, something in your mind, chocolating on your mind. Alright. Now play this one. Play this one now. Junior, tuyambe kawa akube bulungi. Now, reduce the sound. Yeah. Junior teaching. Junior teach. All right.
Ati baticha be bakuba.
With me is a teacher, a professional teacher for autistic children on our show, and we would like to learn. People out there want to learn, how do you do this? You know, someone brings their child here, and within a few years or months, that child is amazingly, talented, and they've discovered themselves. So we are so honored to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Kindly introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, my name is Charikunda Miriam, and I am a teacher at Donor Center School for Autism. We teach the children, we take them through various activities to find out what one might be really good at.
Okay.
So we are testing their skills through all these various activities that we have
Okay.
provided at the center. So take for example class, we've got some tracing to help them strengthen their hands to be able to write something. So you need to take them through tracing to give their hands some strength. We have shading also for strengthening the arms too. Some can count. We have sight words. We usually go through that through circle time. Sit them down through like a circle gathering. Then you take them through different letters, A, B, C. We sing. Sometimes there is activity of exercise around PE. There is music. We have vocational activities. We have beading. We have hairdressing. We have tailoring. We've got some art. There is some painting. Well, people might think autism is a disease, and the kids you might feel that your child doesn't have some color in their life, but the color is here to represent the light they bring into this world too. Their lives matter too, like the rest of the other people do. So you need to have faith in your kid that they can do something. They might be different, but that doesn't make them disabled. They can understand, they can pick instructions, they can learn how to write, and you never know, your child might build an empire. So their life is colorful too. So
That's very intriguing. And what do the puzzles indicate? I see puzzles, I see rainbows. What do those represent as well?
they're like a different stage of a child. So they're like a puzzle. So you need to be really patient to understand the child at every level, when they're sad, when they're happy, what they're good at, what they cannot do, what irritates them. So they are puzzles, so you need to figure them out to really relate with them,
Wow.
and for them to be able to live with others in society.
That is very, very insightful. I have to admit, they are like a puzzle. So we have, to connect these, and
Yes,
at the
there's
same
so
time,
many little boxes that you need to open. So there's this one, it's my happy jaw. This one makes me happy. When I'm angry, this calms me down. When I'm sad, I feel like this. When I'm angry and irritated, I don't want something.
Okay.
When I want to go outside, I show you a certain sign, I need to go outside. So they can't ask for permission. So you need to understand that when he's doing this, he means he wants to go out.
So speaking about learning to understand them and opening up, how is your experience? Do you learn every single child you teach?
You have to learn every single child that you teach. That is how you can better each one. There might be some that are good at art. Then they're not really interested in other things, but they really want art. They want to draw.
Wow.
I have a certain student like that in my class. So if you're not watching over her, she can do her work well, nicely, and completes it. But if you just turn an eye like this, she's already drawing in the work. So she loves art a lot. She loves it, and she can create a whole story out of how funny art. It's weird, but it's good. It looks good.
So how do you recognize indiscipline from being different?
Sometimes, parents usually help us a lot. They've helped us somewhere, somehow. So some of the kids are already aware of what not to do and what to do. So, but when you see them doing something, when you tell them this is not right, you keep on repeating. So they work with continuous repetition. You shouldn't do this. This is not good. This is bad. This is good. You should continue with this. You need to remind them all the time. Then they finally get it, and you're off with the good discipline, and the bad behavior is out of the way. So.
Intriguing.
Yes.
Intriguing. But my question remains: what helps you discern indiscipline from being different? Because as far as I know, after talking to Madame Dorothy, she told me that they have a way that they bring out their emotions. They are violent. They are always on the extreme side, whether they are so happy or so violent. So how do we discern communication from indiscipline?
True. When they're angry, when they're upset, you can see them. Sometimes they even bring out tears.
Oh, sure.
Yes. But when they're happy, they're excited, they're smiling, they're jumping up and down. You can see them relating with others, jumping. You can see it. It's really on their faces, so it's much easier to relate. If this one is angry, is crying, upset, doesn't want to do something, like some sit down.
Okay.
Yes, in anger, yes, they cry, they smile. When they're happy, when they're upset, they cry. So it's easy.
So that's one step we have noticed. Facial expressions,
Yes, facial expression.
actions, blah blah blah. So now, how do you deal with this child who is indisciplined or mad at you, or angry, or sad? What do you do?
But in my class, me personally, I tend to give them some space. I tell them, you sit here and relax. And then relax. When your anger is down and when you're done crying, you can come back and sit with us. It passes for some time and they relax. You sit them in a corner.
That's so beautiful.
Yes. They get over it. Yes,
that's
they calm
very-
down. Kids calm down.
That's quite very beautiful. Maybe another thing that someone might want to know: do autistic people communicate to each other? For instance, if we have one child here and another one here, can this one ask the other one for a sharpener or a ruler?
I haven't seen the asking part, but I see them jazzing in that one way. They like to communicate. You see them both. Okay. Let me see. They point at one another. They hold hands. They laugh. You see them laughing like they're in a deep conversation,
Oh,
but you
wow.
may not understand what they're saying. But they do communicate with one another.
So they have
Their
that
own community.
intimate
Yes, they do. You see them laughing. You may not understand them. They're actually talking to one another.
Okay. So they don't get to ask each other for help or stuff like that.
Not so much. They usually prefer to be alone. They like to isolate themselves. They are alone as most of them, but they can make a conversation with one another, which they understand themselves. You can see them laughing, but they prefer to stay alone.
So the idea you're giving me here is that you, an expert, are able to understand what they are asking for, unlike they with each other.
Yes.
Okay. So how do I know that an autistic child wants food, for example?
Sometimes, okay, they ask for it if I see it.
Okay.
And they have this habit inside of them. They align their life to a clock. Let me say for a clock. Everything is in order.
Oh.
Yes, everything's supposed to be in order. So some of them know that this is supposed to be the time for food.
So they know the hands of the clock.
Yes, and that is one of the ways that is mostly advised to treat an autistic child. Keep their lives in order, and because they themselves are related to order, so they need to align everything. So if you want to work with them, their life should have a timetable. So they get used to the timetable themselves. Keep everything in constant, so they can just know this time it's time for break. Right now should be having break. So you see all of them are kind of disturbed. They're crying, some are crying. They know it's time for food. They should be having food at this time. So
Amazing. Maybe another thing I would like to find out. I mean, we have children above 15, above 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Do these people fall in love?
I would lie to you. I'm not sure about that.
You aren't.
I'm not sure about that, but I think they do.
Okay.
They do. They're wonderful people.
How do they present these characteristics?
A little bit reserved with their own characteristics, but if they're able to express that they're sad and happy, they are able to do that too.
Okay.
I want to urge parents, you need to work with the teachers. These kids are not disadvantaged. I think the best education you can give an autism kid is teach them how to follow instructions. It might not be with a book, but even a simple work at home. You're training their hearing. So even if you just ask them daily, get me a plate, get me a cup, it's working. So they are learning to know that someone is telling me something, I need to do it. Pick up a broom and sweep. It helps us a lot too somewhere when we get here at school. They know that they need to pick up this instruction, that this is a plate, because you're continuously hearing, get me a plate, get me a cup, get me a broom, open the curtains, close the door, sit down, stand up. It helps both of us. If we do that and they keep on doing that too at home, and they're helping them with their work too, they shouldn't leave all the work to the teachers at school. Some kids here are really good with work in the book. They can continue with their own academics and learn something much more. You just need to constantly remind them, you need to shade this, perfect your shading, perfect your name writing, perfect your alphabet. So we are urging parents to work with us too.
All right. I think, ladies and gentlemen, you got that right. you have to work together with the teachers. That is, if they have children here, right?
Yes.
But how about if someone wants to bring their child here?
Okay. It's okay. You can bring your child here too. I think the information is on the screen to bring a child at Donor Center, right?
Okay.
Yes. We are welcoming them to bring their kids. It's, you can never exhaust knowledge. So whatever you're teaching them, we can teach them.
For instance, what is the size of your class and how do you handle this?
I have 9 students in my class, and we are 2 teachers. So we tend to focus more on what a child is good at.
So how many classes exist?
We have 3 classes. We have grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3.
Wonderful. So there happen promotions and
Yes.
report cards.
Yes, they do have.
Excellent. I'm so grateful that you come through to answer some of our most searched questions about autism.
I would encourage parents and everyone else out there living with autism that it's not a disadvantage to your life, that you can make yourself better. So do not be scared of autism. You too,
This
Kenny.
has been Teacher Miriam, and she has given us some basic information about autism and how she gets her hands dirty. She told me they do DIY. You see some pictures, and they get their hands into the ground to do this beautiful work of teaching autistic children.
If you have a checklist of say 50 behaviors that are typical with persons with autism, these behaviors can be across the board, whether mild or severe, and someone ticks more than half of those boxes, there's a very high chance that they are autistic. So the next thing is to now further analyze this diagnosis to determine the severity of where they lie on the spectrum. If they are exhibiting behavior that is very strong around things that prevent their life from functioning smoothly, that puts them on the severe side. If they are exhibiting mild elements that demonstrate that they are able to go about their lives normally but still have these elements of autism, that puts them on the mild side. So typically a diagnosis does that and establishes whether one is on the spectrum. And once you've identified that they're on the spectrum, then you decide how you proceed. That's why you'll find there are children or persons with autism who will be in conventional schools because they are not on the severe side. Whereas they may be challenged on certain aspects of life or behavior or communication, they will still be able to live their lives almost normally. And those who tend to be on the severe sides are the ones who will end up in specialized education institutions like this one.
Hello, dear esteemed viewers. As you have seen what is going on at Donor Center, some beautiful activities, brass band, drumming, trumpet blowing, and a lot of fun activities here. I'm amazed to be here with one of the teachers at Donor Center, and she took long to decide whether she should accept this interview, but I was lucky enough that she said yes. So welcome to Kampala Edge Time. What is your name?
My name is Brenda. I teach music at Brass for Africa. So we teach music and life skills.
Lovely. So thank you for accepting. Let us be fast with this. I was so amazed looking at what the kids can do. They can sing, they can drum. I even saw one introduce himself before camera, and that was really beautiful. Thank you for the work you're doing. Yes. So how long have you been working at Donor Center?
It's now a year.
A year, whole year. That's beautiful. Like since last year.
Yeah, since last year.
Beautiful, beautiful. What does it feel like working with these children, autistic children to be specific?
Okay, at first it is not easy. When you like your first time, you will feel like, will I manage this? But with time you come out to know them, to understand them, to understand their ability. They are such lovely souls. So when you connect to them, they will feel like you love them. But when you come with that stress, you feel, when you start like, I don't want to touch them, they are weird kind of, they will understand because they have that sense.
Yeah.
So you just have to come with that love. When you come with that love, you'll see them coming to you. When teaching them, they'll connect to you because they have that listening skill. When you give them a rhythm, they will always remember that rhythm, and it will be hard for you to remove that rhythm in their head. So you just give them a rhythm, they listen. Some you see they are touching their ears. So it's a matter of understanding them and how to hold them. So it is easy for me right now because I connected with them, they connected with me, we work together. They even sometimes command a band, you feel like, the center quick march. So they give themselves a rhythm. Or before you giving them a rhythm, they already know the rhythm you taught them last week.
Oh,
yeah.
That's quite interesting. I mean, I don't know, like at what stage did you find them? Were they already intelligent as they are right now, or you had to start from scratch, learn each individual?
Yeah, since we teach them percussion, because we teach brass, but for them we teach them percussion. They cannot blow using their mouth. So at first it is not hard, it is not that easy for them. So you just have to continue doing the same thing continuously so that they can understand, they can pick it up slowly by slowly. It's a matter of slowly by slowly, being patient with them, understanding them.
Thank you so much. Remember your name?
Brenda.
Brenda, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing more activities as they unravel. I was told that there is art, they are going to paint and draw and shade.
On third it's a disability for children, so we are going to have people performing, they are showing what they are doing because they do many things than you expect. You think those children they can't do anything, but if you give them a chance, they can do something, like even us who call ourselves like normal people, what
that
we can't do. Yes, they have a lot of talent.
Thank you so very much, Brenda. We look forward to seeing you a little more. My name is John Kenny once again. I'm here for day 2 at Donor Center. It has been such a fun and exciting moment with these children. They're really quite exciting, I must tell you. And I'm sure you've got a lot of information. And by the way, in case you like this, please go ahead and subscribe because it takes ages putting this together. So I have been given a poster right here which talks about the symptoms of autism. By the way, you can find this at Donor Center. You can find these, there in plenty. So this shows you every symptom that these children possess, but they rarely have all of them at the same time or just one of them. Yeah.
much more understanding and support for them.
Do we have any training that goes on for these teachers, and how is it done? Is it monthly, annually, or?
So with special needs education, it's generalized. There's already institutions that offer special needs education. It tends to cover a wide spectrum of special needs, including autism. They are introduced to a variety of disorders that usually get people to be categorized as requiring special needs, and then they are trained around all of them. However, for some cases like autism, or in some countries, the depth at which they go for specific conditions varies. Like for Uganda, I don't think they go into depth for autism because autism is relatively a new condition globally compared to all other.
By new, you mean?
New in terms of understanding, in terms of discovery, because autism was first understood or discovered in the beginning of the century, but nothing much was done around autism until institutions started taking shape about 14, 15 years ago, which is a very short time compared to all other mental health conditions. In general, the whole world of psychiatry is just developing. If you may be aware, even in the Western world, for many years, people with mental health conditions were placed in mental asylums. But we no longer have what is called a mental asylum. They are called different names, either psychiatry centers or the labels have changed as knowledge of mental health grows, as people gain more skills around the various mental health conditions, and there are so many. So even here in Uganda, for example, the oldest and most popular mental institution in Uganda is Butawika, and for many years, everybody that exhibited even the mildest sign of a mental health issue was sent there. But nowadays, there are so many rehabilitation homes and all kinds of, they tend to refer to them as homes, are places where they manage people with various mental health conditions. So Butawika focuses on the severe ones like bipolar, schizophrenia, and the ones that make it hard for people with those conditions to fit into society, or where they are a danger to themselves. That's when they usually go to such institutions. But where someone is not a danger to society and is not a complete danger to themselves, the options have become wide, including now like an autism center like this one. We also get referrals from even Butawika sometimes when they realize that this one just needs a more specialized management.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else you'd like us to know?
I think in general, as a country, we need to, as individuals and as a country, we need to increase our appreciation of mental health conditions. That allows us to deal with the people who have these conditions around us, whether they are family members or our own children, in a much better way. Many parents suffer just because of ignorance. They tend to lump all these conditions in one huge basket where all they see is negativity. But as they gain knowledge, they tend to manage it much better. So we usually even encourage parents, even if they don't have any children here, but they have a child with that may lean towards a condition, for example, that we manage here, to come and just gain the knowledge. Because when you have the knowledge, then you handle life much better than when you're completely ignorant. So we focus a lot on creating awareness so that more people have a better understanding on how to accommodate and deal with persons with mental health challenges. It could mean something. There's also the sign of delayed speech. Most children with autism who on the severe side of the spectrum tend to be nonverbal. So it starts out like delayed speech, like it's not coming, then eventually it doesn't come. but which is very different from what is known as a dumb person, like a person who is naturally nonverbal, where the tongue is physically incapable of producing sounds.
Yes.
In this case, the incapability comes from the mind, not from the physical inability. So you will find a person is nonverbal, but at some point they can say a word or two, or they could increase to 3 or 4 words, and these words could be random, and they could come at sometimes in uncoordinated ways, or sometimes completely no speech. The children with autism also tend to exhibit signs of depression because the world around them doesn't understand them. It's like, imagine when you are in a world where nobody understands what you're feeling, what you're going through, what your needs are. And sometimes it's not even that the world doesn't understand, even you do not understand. Imagine being hungry and not being in touch with, and the mind is not sending a signal to tell you that the reason you're uncomfortable is because you're hungry. That's a very difficult situation to be in, because hunger is not something that is we even think about, because the brain tells us you're hungry, and then because it has told you you're hungry, you know I have to look for food, I have to look for drink. But imagine being hungry or being thirsty, but there's no message going to your brain to tell you that the gap you're feeling in your mind needs to be filled with food or drink. So you will feel physically the need to feel something, but your brain has not told you what you need to do. So you will be depressed because you're confused. What's going on? You might throw and tantrum, you might be angry, you might be feeling bad, and you have no idea what's going on with you. Or imagine hurting yourself on the foot and not knowing that you've hurt yourself and you're bleeding and you feel pain, but the brain is not sending a signal that you have hurt yourself there. But you feel pain and you can't explain why the pain is there and where it has come from and what to do to solve it. So again, that depression can come from many different reasons.
Angle.
Yes. Okay. Then they also tend to reject cuddles because they are also sensitive to, some of them tend to be sensitive to that body language. Some feel the need to hug and others feel no need to physically interact with another human being. So if you try and hold a baby, they will not want it because in their mind, it's sending signals that you're invading their space, that is not needed. So they will reject cuddles and probably even cry. Then they also tend to have sleep problems. They will be awake late in the night and they will be confused, they will be tired, they will feel frustrated and not sure why they are up, which is for you in your mind, you'll know. Even when you don't have sleep, you will know why you're lacking sleep and you have an idea on what to do with the situation. But imagine having such a situation and not knowing what to do. You can't explain the cause and you can't even come up with a solution because your mind is somehow betraying you by not sending signals that give you that situation awareness. So those are some of the signs of autism, and you should never take the assumption that they apply to all of them. They apply randomly to different people and different children in different ways. This one may have a combination of 1, 2, and 6. Another one will have 3, 4, and 1. Another one will have. So it's the nature of autism. It's very random, and it's the reason it's called the autism spectrum. The lack of sleep, typically in children with autism, is often influenced by many factors, and one of those factors could be diet. Certain diets or things that we consume as human beings can lead to lack of sleep. For example, high carbs and high carbohydrates tend to increase lack of sleep. And how to basically deal with the issue of lack of sleep is to manage the diet and also manage the feeding time, so that you don't have a situation where someone has just had a huge intake of food that has an element that takes away sleep, and they are forced to stay up late. But if they do it early and the food is processed in time, they are likely to catch sleep in time.
Okay. So I've seen a number of them, either they are violent or they have saliva coming out of their mouth. Are those symptoms with time erased? Do they stop pouring saliva or stop being violent with time?
Typically, children with autism don't exhibit having saliva. However, autism also has what they call autism comorbidities. These are conditions that also tend to be present in the same child with autism. It's a situation where you have multiple conditions in one person. Let's say you have autism, but you also have epilepsy. Okay. You have autism, but you also have Down syndrome. You have autism, you also have ADHD.
You are going to differentiate for us autism and those other diseases. What's the difference? For instance, someone can mistake it for Down syndrome.
Yes.
Or nodding disease. So what is really the difference?
So, for starters, autism is not a disease. Autism is a disorder that affects behavior and communication, but it's not a disease. Like there's a specific drug you can take and you treat it. It's not a disease, and there's no cure for autism. But the symptoms that autism creates are the ones we try to manage. So if a child has, for example, saliva flowing, it could also mean they have another condition that is triggering the saliva effect. That's why you'll find if it was a saliva flow was a part of autism, then all children with autism would probably have it. So there are situations where a child has autism, but also other present disorders. We've had children who have autism and epilepsy, so they tend to have the typical epileptic seizures and the other symptoms of epilepsy. But at the same time, they will be struggling with autism. And then there's also the area you asked about the violence. The violence that is typically associated with autism, that is not triggered by other disorders, is usually its root cause is the frustrations that happen because of autism. I've given you an example of, let's say, a child with autism is hungry, but they're hungry, but they cannot say they're hungry because they are nonverbal. Two, they are not even sure that they are hungry because they don't know they're hungry. Because if they knew that they're hungry and their mind has told them they're hungry, they would go straight to the kitchen or where the food is and probably show you a sign. But if they are unable to do that, the violence tends to be a way of exhibiting the frustration. It's another form of body communication. Someone is frustrated and they are trying to get your attention. So typically here, because there's a pattern, or it's usually encouraged that even with parents at home, you develop a very strict routine in which things are done according to routine. It's very hard for that kind of typical autism violence or tantrum to come out because all the expectations are met. The tantrums and violence comes when expectations are not met and they are unable to communicate the frustration. Because to you, when you're hungry, you will say, I'm hungry, I can't be here anymore, please give me some food before we continue doing anything. But if you're hungry and you can't say that, and the people around you are not aware, they're not doing anything about it, and you can't even bring a plate of food and show them that I want this, the next thing is to explode or to implode. And then if it is someone who is already aware of what to do, they will typically know something is missing. Either a routine has been missed or something on their schedule is missing. So they will try and investigate and instantly put that to order. But there's also sometimes violence that is triggered by extreme sensitivity to certain things. I've seen a video For example, I don't know whether you've seen it, where there was a child who started breaking TVs in a shopping mall, in a supermarket. There's a high possibility that because supermarkets have lots of light, there's a high possibility that this child was triggered by this extreme light. So this extreme light can affect them the same way someone would pour hot water on you. In your mind, all this light is like a lot of noise, is like someone scratching your brain, literally. And you have
more like someone scratching the table, and you feel
yes,
irritated.
It's irritating, a strong irritation, and the light is coming from the TVs, from the bulbs, and you can't reach them, but the TVs are the nearest thing you can attempt to switch off. How do you switch off a TV that you don't know how to switch off? So you bring it down because you're trying to get rid of the light. So to us, we see violence. To the child, this light needs to stop. I can't handle it any further. So we interpret it as violence, but the child, it is the duty of the parent to know what their child is sensitive to, because you will have noticed this over time. Typically, if a child is sensitive to light, every time you turn on the light, the body will naturally react, and then you will know that, okay, this one is sensitive to light. So the next time we go to a shopping mall, they probably need to wear shades, or you need to manage them and reassure them. Most times there's also other short-term solutions. If someone is exposed to something that affects their sensitivity, they need reassurance that they are safe, because to them, they will interpret this extreme sensitivity as danger. Same way you would interpret a car that's about to knock you, same way you interpret about someone who is about to stab you. So to them, at that point, if you're not able to take them away from the situation, you need to reassure them that they are safe, and this reassurance can come in many forms, sometimes in as simple as a hug. If it's not a hug, or just holding them to assure them that
what happens
you are safe, and I'll make sure nothing hurts you.
If they are like, I'm trying to reassure them using a hug. You're going to continue with that, yes. But I'm trying to reassure them with a hug, and they are, as we discussed on the symptoms, maybe they don't want cuddles.
That's where you would consider other alternatives, like taking them away from that space. Should be the very first step. If they are anti-cuddle, then and they are reacting to something in the room, if you're already aware of what autism is like, it's usually either sound or light. If it's so, the first thing to do is take them away from that space, because if they were not violent a few minutes ago, that means where you were before was safe, or was not, well, there was no problem with it. So then the moment you see the reaction, then the first step is to take them away, and then hopefully let them calm down, and then reintroduce them slowly. This time probably don't move so fast. Give their mind time to first appreciate the environment and absorb either the light or the noise, and sort of take it in and allow the mind, because the mind typically when it comes to managing sound, even for us, when you move into an area with very loud music, the first few seconds are a shock to you, and you try to either you try to move away or try to hold your ears, and then the longer you stay, the more your mind starts to manage the sound, and then you get used to it. So the same with them as well. If there's such a reaction, take a few steps back, then take another step back in, but this time more slowly, and give them time to acclimatize to the environment, and then hopefully deal with it much better.
All right, that was amazing. Thank you.
Signs of hyperactivity, but almost hyperactivity that is slightly outside of the normal.
Okay.
And then many children also with autism will prefer to play alone, because autism again affects your ability to socially interact, or to even understand, to have the common sense of social interaction. Okay. The things that we take for granted, like a smile, like connecting with other human beings through body language, tend to be affected when you have autism. So they don't feel the desire to play with other children, and some of them, and that's not for all of them, but these are a mix of the different signs.
Yeah? Hello. Yes. Welcome to Kampala Edge Times. Actually, I'm the one who should be welcomed by you. Yeah, so I'm here in one of the classes at Donor Center with one of the teachers. Kindly come closer. Yeah, who is teaching. So we are so delighted to have her here. What's your name, teacher? Teacher Olivia. Okay. So Teacher Olivia, what do you do?
I'm a teacher here at Donor Center.
Okay, that's beautiful. Yeah. So what are we learning today?
We are in art, like we are doing some letters, and this art helps them like on concentration. So you can't form a letter from papers when you're not concentrated. So they have to concentrate, and they have to know that this is letter C, this is letter D, those letters.
That's beautiful.
It's called Mark.
Mark. Hello, Mark. How are you? Yeah. Mark is able to respond to my greeting, and I'm so impressed. Some of you don't know art. This is beautiful. I've seen some of the images on the wall. Were they all created by the children?
Yes.
Yes,
And
really.
they are what?
That's amazing.
And the hope will move a teacher.
Yeah. How about this? I've seen some beautiful stuff right here. Come on, show me. This. Is this Donor Center? Who created this?
Okay, the children help us to
Okay. Oh, the kids wrote all this. Wow, that's totally out of this world. And there's a beautiful flower right here. Oh my God, I'm taking this. This is so beautiful. What is this? Can I wear it on my shirt?
It's a flower. You can have it
On the wall. Okay.
It's beautiful on the wall.
Oh my God, this is lovely. I should buy it. How much is it? This is what? Oh, Aomo. Aomo, how are you? Oh, that's lovely. It's creating a decoration. Apparently, you should include the other beautiful one as well. Yes.
You can cut out the flowers.
Yeah.
Or cut.
Oh, wonderful. I think she's a good artist for sure. Yeah, that's lovely. So what material is that we are using? Charcoal? Oh. It's called what?
here.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. So what do you teach here?
Like we teach them how like they need to focus. Yeah, they pick papers, they pin like they make a letter,
Okay.
or they make their name.
Yes.
And the other girl here is making an art which can be designed anywhere, like in a house. Like can put like in a house, it looks good, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are these they are arranging? Like I see him.
It's like we are making letters out
Okay.
of papers. They are
Yeah.
making letters. So she's picking these ones to put it here to make a letter E or F.
Oh, letter E or F.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
saw this little kid and she was making something really beautiful, and I asked the teacher to teach me too. Mambi teacher, what's your name?
My name is Christine Antume.
Okay. So Christine Nantume is going to teach us how to make a wall decoration. Yeah, so kindly, what do I do?
Now you cut this pass that laid behind. That's as simple as this. Put up, pass it up, go on rotating. You try.
This guy is watch me make decorations for you. Then I pull this,
Yeah, pass it.
and then I pass it under.
You pull again, go on.
This is easy. Okay. Then after that, I again continue.
Yeah, you just continue.
Wow. This girl has been doing this since over morning. Okay? She's so good at it. So what happens when the thread is over?
You put another time.
Hey, they are happy, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. They are happy to see me.
See you.
Really? Wow. Hey, how are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? Hello. How are you?
I'm called Teacher Sarah and I'm a teacher here in Donor Center. I teach autistic children, and let me introduce to you their names. He's called Aiden, he's called Mark, he's called Modern, and he's called Jeremiah. Thank you so much.
So what are you doing here?
Today we are going to do painting. They are going to do some painting on this paper, you see, and they are going to do this. They are going to put it here on this plate, and then they start paint them here on this paper.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are paintings: yellow, black, blue.
All right.
Yeah.
How about her?
She's called Angela, and she can help me to be with them.
Is she also a teacher?
No.
Yes.
She's just a student like them.
Yes.
Yeah, and she can help me.
Okay.
Yes.
She's a student like them, but she knows better than them. Eh?
She knows.
Okay.
She can talk to you.
Yes. Hello, Angela.
Hello.
Yeah. What are you doing here?
I'm a matron for
Oh,
children.
okay.
I'm the matron.
Lovely.
Yeah, she can help me here.
Thank you so much.
you.